You think your pain comes from their departure, but the truth is far more clinical. You are suffering because you lost your seat at the table of their ego. You've been programmed to believe that fighting for someone means showing up, texting, and proving your worth, but every time you reach out, you aren't building a bridge, you're building their pedestal. You are providing the very validation they use to feel powerful enough to ignore you. When you vanish, the world doesn't end, but their certainty does. Silence is the only language a narcissist or a dismissive partner understands because it's the only thing they can't control. By the end of this analysis, you will understand that the power to be remembered doesn't come from what you say, but from the void you leave when you finally stop talking. If you're ready to stop being a footnote in someone else's story and start becoming the mystery they can't solve, subscribe to this channel now. We are going deep into the mechanics of the human ego. 1. The architecture of expectation, breaking the predictable loop. You have become a recurring character in their daily routine, a predictable source of dopamine that they no longer have to work for. When you text them every morning or react to every story they post, you are effectively telling their brain, I am a fixed asset, you don't need to invest any more energy here. Human beings are biologically wired to ignore what is guaranteed. Think about the air you breathe, you only notice it when the room starts to run out of oxygen. By being constantly available, you've become the psychological equivalent of oxygen, vital, perhaps, but entirely taken for granted. The moment you stop, the loop breaks. They wake up and check their phone, expecting the usual notification from you, but there's nothing there. That nothing is a physical weight. It creates a microfissure in their reality. Suddenly, the script they wrote for their day, the one where they are the protagonist and you are the fan, is missing a page. This isn't about playing games, it's about reclaiming your status as a variable rather than a constant. Constants are boring. Variables are captivating. When the notification doesn't arrive, the ego begins to sweat. They might check if their internet is working, or if they accidentally muted you. They are looking for a logical reason for your absence because the alternative, that you simply stopped caring, is a direct hit to their self-esteem. By breaking the predictable loop, you force them to actually look at you again, rather than just looking past you. You transition from a background noise to a deafening silence. The psychological impact of this is profound. In the absence of information, the human mind creates its own. They will start to wonder where you are, who you are with, and why their source of validation has suddenly dried up. This is the first step in shifting the power dynamic. You are no longer the one waiting for a response, you are the one creating the question. And questions are the seeds of obsession. Most people fail here because they get anxious. They think, if I don't text, they'll forget me. It's the exact opposite. If you keep texting, they don't have to remember you because you never went away. Memory requires distance. Without distance, there is only habit. And habits are the death of desire. To be thought of, you must first be missed. To be missed, you must be gone. You are currently addicted to the hope of a reply. But hope is a leash. When you cut that leash, you aren't just freeing yourself, you're letting them fall into the vacuum you left behind. They will try to find a way to fill that void, and the first thing they will reach for is a memory of you. This is where the haunting begins. This is where you stop being the pursuer and start being the ghost in their machine. 2. The withdrawal of validation, the hunger of the ego. Every like, every, how are you, and every late-night reply is a hit of social currency you are handing over for free. You think you are being kind or loyal, but the ego of the person you desire sees it as a tax they no longer have to pay. When you stop providing this validation, you aren't just being quiet, you are effectively putting them on a psychological starvation diet. The human ego is a bottomless pit that requires constant feeding to maintain its shape. Imagine they are used to you liking their photos within minutes. When you stop, the photo they posted feels less successful to them. They start to doubt the quality of their own content, their own attractiveness, and their own grip on you. They will go back to their own profile and look at who viewed their story, scrolling down to find your name. When they don't find it, the hit they were looking for turns into a withdrawal symptom. This is where the inversion of focus happens. Up until now, you were the one analyzing their behavior, wondering why they were cold or distant. Now, they are the ones analyzing your lack of behavior. They are staring at a blank screen, wondering why the person who once worshipped them has suddenly found something better to do. The loss of a fan is often more painful than the loss of a lover. The ego cannot handle being ignored. It perceives silence as a form of rejection that is much more potent than an argument. In an argument, there is still engagement. There is still energy. But silence? Silence implies that they are no longer significant enough to warrant even a negative reaction. That is the ultimate blow. It forces them to question their own value in your eyes, which is the most effective way to occupy their thoughts. They will start to probe. A random meme, a breadcrumbing text like, "Hey," or a direct question about something trivial. These are not signs of love, they are pings to see if the server is still active. If you respond immediately, the hunger is satisfied, and they can go back to ignoring you. But if you remain silent or respond with total indifference, the hunger intensifies. They become obsessed with regaining the control they lost. True power is the ability to withhold what someone else craves. If they crave your attention to feel good about themselves, and you stop giving it, you become the most important person in their world, not because of who you are, but because of what you have taken away. You are now the gatekeeper of their self-worth. Every hour that passes without your validation makes your price go up in their mind. 3. The mystery of the unseen life. The modern world has killed mystery. We broadcast our locations, our meals, and our moods in real time. When someone knows exactly where you are and what you're doing, they have no reason to think about you, they can just check on you. By going silent, you delete the map. You become a black box. The human brain abhors a vacuum, it will fill that empty space with the most vivid, anxiety-inducing theories possible. When they can't see what you're doing, they assume the worst, for their ego. They don't imagine you sitting on the couch crying over them. They imagine you out at a dinner they weren't invited to, laughing with someone they don't know, or excelling in a career move you never told them about. Your silence creates a canvas, and their insecurity is the brush. They begin to project their own fears onto your absence. This is the Otto rank principle of the self and the other. We define ourselves in relation to those around us. If you remove yourself from their orbit, they lose a piece of their own identity. They start to feel untethered. Who are they if they aren't the person you are chasing? To find the answer, they have to move toward you. They have to investigate the mystery you've become. Think of it as the Zeigarnik effect in psychology, the tendency to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. By cutting off contact, you have become an interrupted task in their brain. Your relationship, or the dynamic you had, is an open loop. Their brain will keep returning to you, trying to find a closing or a resolution that you are refusing to provide. Every time they see something that reminds them of you, a song, a street corner, a specific brand of coffee, it triggers a search for updated information. When they check your social media and see nothing new, or see you looking better than ever without a caption explaining why, the itch becomes a burn. You are living rent-free in their head because you've stopped paying for the room with your presence. The goal isn't to be mysterious in a cringy, forced way. It's about having a private life that is actually private. When your life is no longer a public performance for their benefit, they realize they are no longer in the audience. They've been kicked out of the theater. And nothing makes someone want to see a show more than being told the doors are locked. 4. The withdrawal of the safety net. Most people in toxic or unbalanced dynamics act as a safety net. They are the person who will always forgive, always wait, and always be there when the other person's exciting options fall through. You have likely been this person, the reliable one. But reliability is the enemy of passion. If they know you'll be there at 2 a.m. when they're lonely, they have zero incentive to respect you at 2 p.m. when they're busy. When you implement contact zero or a radical withdrawal of energy, you are pulling that safety net out from under them. You are forcing them to feel the cold, hard floor of reality. This is often the moment they realize they actually need you. But it's not a romantic need, it's the realization that they've lost their cushion. They start to panic. And panic looks a lot like missing someone. This realization usually hits when they have a bad day. In the past, you were the one they would vent to. Now, they have something they want to tell you, but they realize they've forfeited the right to your ears. This micro-loss happens dozens of times a day. Every time they have a thought they would usually share with you, they are reminded of your absence. It's a repetitive, psychological bruising. The absence of a safety net changes their behavior. They become more cautious. They start to wonder if they made a mistake. They look at the new people in their life and realize those people don't offer the same depth of understanding or patience that you did. But because you are gone, they can't just come back to you for a quick fix. You've closed the pharmacy. This is where the sunk cost fallacy kicks in. They start looking back at all the time and energy they did invest in you, even if it was minimal, and realize that if they lose you for good, that investment is gone. They start to overvalue you simply because you are no longer available. This is basic economics applied to the human heart. Scarcity increases value. Stop being the person who makes their life easy while they make your life hard. The moment you become difficult to reach is the moment they start to value the reach. If you want someone to think of you, you have to let them experience life without you. Truly without you. No checking in, no just seeing how you are. Let them feel the full weight of the silence they asked for. 5. The subversive social media strategy. If you are going to post, you must post for yourself, not for them, but you must do it with surgical precision. The mistake most people make is posting revenge photos or sad quotes. Both of these tell the same story: I am doing this to get your attention. If they know the post is for them, they still have the power. You are still performing. To truly make them think of you, you must post as if they don't exist. The most haunting thing you can show someone is that you are thriving in a world that no longer includes them. A photo of you laughing with friends they don't know. A picture of a hobby they didn't know you had. A shot of you looking physically better than you did when you were with them. This creates identity friction. They thought they knew who you were. Now, they realize they were only seeing the version of you that was suppressed by their presence. This triggers a specific type of jealousy, the fear that you have outgrown them. When we think we have won a breakup or a conflict, we feel a sense of superiority. But when the loser suddenly looks like they're winning at life, our ego demands a recount. They will start to wonder, was I the one holding them back? Were they actually too good for me? Don't check their stories. Don't like their posts. Don't even look at their profile. If you have seen their story, you have given them a hit of dopamine. You have told them, I am still watching. If you don't see it, they will post more, trying to get that view from you. They will become the performer, and you will be the empty seat in the front row. That empty seat is more distracting than 1,000 cheering fans. That subversive strategy is about signaling a shift in your internal state. If you were always the anxious one, start posting content that screams peace. If you were the homebody, post content that shows adventure. You are signaling that the old version of you, the version they could control and predict, is dead. And people are always curious about a rebirth. This isn't about faking it. It's about actually shifting your focus. When you stop posting at them, your content naturally becomes more authentic. And authenticity is a magnet. They will see you moving on and realize that the window of opportunity is closing. Nothing triggers obsession faster than the sound of a door being locked from the inside. 6. The psychology of the pattern interrupt. Humans are pattern-matching machines. We navigate the world by predicting what will happen next based on what happened before. In your relationship with this person, you have established a pattern. Maybe you always text back in 5 minutes. Maybe you always apologize first. Maybe you always give in after 3 days of silence. This pattern is their comfort zone. It's why they feel safe ignoring you. A pattern interrupt is a technique used in hypnosis and sales to bypass the conscious mind and speak directly to the subconscious. When you suddenly act in a way that is completely contrary to your established pattern, you shock their system. The brain goes into a state of high alert because the predictable environment has become unpredictable. Unpredictability is perceived as a threat, and we can't stop thinking about threats. Imagine a cat-and-mouse game. The cat is used to the mouse running away. If the mouse suddenly stops and stares the cat in the eye, the cat freezes. It doesn't know what to do because the flight pattern has been broken. When you stop running after them, you are the mouse that stopped. You have interrupted their dominance. This interrupt creates a mental itch they have to scratch. They will think, this isn't like them. What changed? Did they meet someone else? Did they realize I'm not that great? Did they finally see the real me? They are now doing the mental labor that you used to do. You have successfully outsourced your anxiety to them. The key to a successful pattern interrupt is consistency. You can't just be cold for 2 days and then melt the moment they send a heart emoji. That just establishes a new pattern. If I wait 2 days, they'll be desperate for me. You have to break the pattern so thoroughly that they no longer know where they stand. Confusion is the precursor to submission. When they are confused, they are vulnerable. Their ego is looking for solid ground. Because you were their solid ground for so long, they will naturally try to return to you to find that stability. But if they find a new you, who is polite but distant, kind but unavailable, they will be forced to reevaluate everything they thought they knew. You become a puzzle they are desperate to solve. 7. The shadow and the projection. Carl Jung spoke about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide or deny. When you are in a high-tension dynamic with someone, you often become a mirror for their shadow. If they are avoidant, your neediness allows them to feel independent. If they are insecure, your devotion allows them to feel superior. By withdrawing, you take away the mirror. Suddenly, they are left alone with their own shadow. Without your neediness to push against, they have to face their own loneliness. Without your devotion, they have to face their own insignificance. They realize that a lot of their strength was actually just a reaction to your weakness. Now that you are strong, or at least absent, they feel weak. This leads to projection. They will start to project their feelings onto you. If they are feeling guilty, they will convince themselves you are angry at them. If they are feeling lonely, they will convince themselves you are moving on with someone else. They are having an entire relationship with you in their head, even though you aren't saying a word. This is the power of the void. Because you aren't there to provide the truth, their mind creates a version of you that is far more intimidating than the real you. They remember your best qualities and amplify them. They remember their worst behaviors and feel the weight of them. In the silence, you become a giant. This is why no contact works so well on people with high egos. Their ego cannot accept that they are being forgotten. To protect itself, the ego tells a story. They aren't ignoring me, they are playing me. Or, they are trying to make me jealous. Even these negative thoughts are better for you than them not thinking about you at all, because they keep you at the center of their mental map. Eventually, the projection becomes too much to handle. The version of you they've created in their mind becomes so attractive or so haunting that they feel an overwhelming urge to contact the real you. They need to see if the ghost is real. They need to see if they still have the power to make the giant small again. Do not let them. 8. reclaiming the internal locus of control. Most people fail to make others think of them because they are operating from an external locus of control. They believe their happiness depends on the other person's actions. This creates an energy of clinging that is palpable, even through a phone screen. People can feel when you are waiting for them. It's heavy, it's suffocating, and it's deeply unsexy. The shift happens when you move to an internal locus of control. This is the realization that your value is inherent and your time is a finite resource that you have been overinvesting in a failing stock. When you truly internalize this, your energy changes. You stop waiting and start living. And ironically, that is when they start watching. There is a subtle psychological difference between not texting someone because you're following a rule and not texting someone because you're too busy building a life. One is a tactic, the other is a transformation. People can tell the difference. If it's a tactic, you'll eventually crack. If it's a transformation, you become a different person, a person they no longer know how to handle. When you reclaim your control, you stop being a reaction to them. You become the action. You decide when the conversation starts and ends. You decide if they are worth your Sunday afternoon. This shift in power is terrifying to someone who is used to having the upper hand. They will feel the tug of the leash disappearing, and they will run to find out where it went. This is the point where you stop being the ex or the crush and start being the one who got away. The one who got away isn't someone who was dumped, it's someone who left, even if they were the one who was technically rejected first. You leave the moment you stop caring about the outcome. You leave the moment you stop trying to convince them of your worth. The most attractive quality a human being can possess is self-sufficiency. When you show someone that you don't need them to feel whole, you become a challenge. And the human brain is evolutionarily programmed to value what it has to hunt or earn. By reclaiming your control, you become the prize that is suddenly out of reach. 9. The fragility of the dismissive mindset. Many people you are trying to reach use a dismissive or avoidant attachment style as a shield. They act like they don't care, but this is usually a defense mechanism to avoid being controlled or hurt. When you chase them, you validate their fear. See? People are intrusive and demanding. I need to stay away. You are actually helping them stay distant. When you stop chasing, you leave them alone with their shield. A shield is heavy. After a while, if there are no arrows being fired at them, they start to wonder why they're holding it. They realize that without you attacking them with love and attention, their life is actually quite empty. Their independence starts to feel a lot like isolation. This is the delayed reaction phase. Avoidant types often feel a sense of relief when you first go silent. They think, finally, the pressure is off. But after a few weeks, when the silence continues, that relief turns into anxiety. They start to feel the phantom limb of your presence. They realize that they didn't actually want you gone, they just wanted the pressure gone. Because they are dismissive, they won't reach out with a grand gesture. They will stalk you silently. They will check your LinkedIn, your Spotify playlists, your last seen on WhatsApp. They are looking for signs that you are still there, even if you aren't talking. If you remain a ghost, their curiosity will eventually override their fear of vulnerability. The truth they are hiding is that they are often the most dependent people of all, they just depend on denying their needs. When you stop being a person they can deny, you become a person they have to face. They start to replay your old conversations, looking for clues. They start to wonder if they were the problem all along. The goal here isn't to fix them. It's to let them experience the consequence of their dismissiveness. The consequence of pushing someone away is that, eventually, that person stays away. When they realize you are actually capable of leaving, they lose their sense of safety. And nothing makes someone think of you more than the realization that they've lost their safe harbor. 10. The inversion, from obsessed to obsession. The final stage is the total inversion of the dynamic. This happens when you have been silent long enough that your presence in their mind has grown larger than your actual presence ever was. You have become an idealized version of yourself. In your absence, they have forgotten your flaws and amplified your virtues. You are no longer a person, you are a feeling they can't get back. At this point, they are the ones experiencing the rejection. Every day that you don't reach out is a fresh rejection for them. They start to feel the same anxiety you felt at the beginning of this journey. They are the ones staring at the online status. They are the ones rereading old texts to see where things went wrong. The tables haven't just turned, they've been flipped. This is the power of the final word. By not saying anything, you have given yourself the final word in the relationship. You have left the story unfinished, and the human brain cannot stand an unfinished story. They will try to reach out to get closure, but closure is a myth. What they really want is to see if they still have the power to affect you. If you have truly done the work, by the time they reach out, you won't even care. And that is the ultimate win. The moment you stop wanting them to think about you is usually the exact moment they can't stop thinking about you. It's one of the cruelest and most consistent ironies of human psychology. Power belongs to the person who cares the least. You must understand that contact zero isn't a waiting room, it's an exit ramp. You aren't sitting around waiting for them to realize your worth. You are busy realizing it yourself. If they happen to realize it along the way, that's a side effect, not the goal. You are the architect of your own peace, and peace is the most haunting thing you can leave behind. When they finally do come back, and they almost always do, in some form, you will see them for who they really are, not a god or a prize, but a person who only valued you when you were gone. And that realization is the final key to your freedom. You have turned your pain into a strategy, and your strategy into a new life. The moment you stop running is the moment the game changes, even if you haven't realized it yet. True influence isn't about the words you speak, it's about the space you refuse to occupy until you are treated with the value you deserve. You are not a background character in their life, you are the author of your own, and it's time you started writing a better chapter. The loudest thing you can ever say to someone who doesn't value you is absolutely nothing.